Today we're going to install Arch Linux on a UEFI system. Go ahead and grab a removable flash drive or CD or DVD, whatever has your Arch Linux install. Go ahead and boot off that device, and then you'll get to a screen that looks something like this. And we're going to choose the first option to install Arch Linux. The first thing that we're going to do is verify that we're actually booted into a UEFI. So we can do an ls to /sys/firmware/EFI/EFI vars. And if we're in the UEFI system, we should see a listing come out to the screen. And that looks good. Now what we're going to want to do is just make sure our machine is connected to the internet, because we're going to have to install the Arch packages over the network. You can use IP-Link to look at your network devices. Currently my machine is just plugged in via Ethernet cable. I'm not on Wi-Fi or anything like that. If you have Wi-Fi only, you might have to go into IWCTL to set up your wireless. And if you don't know how to use that, I would refer to the Arch Linux documentation, and I believe you'd be able to also type in help, and it'll give you the different commands that you can run in the IW control. So I'm just going to ping archlinux.org, and we'll ping it 5 times just to make sure that everything looks good as far as the network goes. And I am getting a response, and all of that looks good. The next step that I'm going to take is I'm going to set the system clock to use the network time protocol, just to make sure my minutes and seconds match up completely with the time server. So to do this, first we can do time date CTL, and then space status. Typo here. And this will give us our current local time, time zone, system clock, and the network time protocol service is currently set to inactive. So I'm going to go ahead and enable that. Time date CTL. Then we'll do a set-NTP, and we'll set that to true. So now if we run time date CTL status again, you'll see that the network time protocol service is now set to active. And we'll set the time zone in a little bit. We're going to start the install first. So to configure everything through the install, or for the install, like I said, there's going to be a lot of packages that are going to end up being downloaded from the internet to your machine. So by default, Arch Linux has a set of mirrors configured in a file that are used to download those packages. Now those mirrors, they will work, but there's probably some better mirrors out there that you can configure that's more closer to your location. Because the closer to your location, it's probably going to get a little bit better performance as far as downloading those packages. So we're going to use Vim. You could use Nano if you want, but I'm going to use Vim, and we're going to edit those mirrors real quick. So we'll do Vim etc pacman.d. and then mirror list. And then here is all the configured servers in here. Since I'm in the United States, I could remove the ones that are these different countries here. So we have like .de, we have Asia, .cz. So if you want to remove any of these, you can just do capital D to remove the line. That's if you're in normal mode. We'll remove this one as well. So you get the point. So I'm actually going to go to the top. I'll show you how to add a mirror if you want. And if you go onto the archlinux.org website, you'll actually see there'll be a page on there where you can look up the different mirrors that you can configure. I have one saved already, so I'm going to type in server equal https:// and then I'm going to choose mirror.arizona.edu /archlinux $repo/os/$arch. Make sure you don't have any spelling errors in the URL. I did this just the other week and I forgot a slash in the URL, and if the URL is not valid, it's not going to do you any good. So I'm not going to do anything more with this. You get the idea, and you can set your mirror list the way that you want it. Now, to get out of Vim, all you have to do is, be in normal mode and just do $ZZ, save your file. Okay. Now we need to configure the disk partitions. So to look at what disks you have on your machine, do fdisk -L, and that'll list all of the disks. I'm going to be working on the /dev/SDA device. It's 100 gigabytes. Again, I'm on a virtual machine, so I didn't give myself a whole lot of space. You will probably see different devices here. The letters might be slightly different. The /dev/loop and whatever the number is after that, you can ignore those. Be careful if you have any drives in your machine that you don't want to accidentally delete the partitions. Also, be careful if you have any removable USB drives in your machine so you don't erase those. So, like I said, we're going to do the /dev/SDA, and we're going to go into cfdisk. If you get prompted for the label type, select GPT, since we're doing a UEFI install. And I have a bunch of free space here. You may not see free space because you might have a bunch of partitions already. You can go ahead and delete those partitions so you get everything into free space. But then we're going to create a new partition. And this new partition is going to be, we'll do 300 megabytes, so 300 M. And then we need to set the type on this. And then we need to set the EFI system. So then we're going to create 2 more partitions here. The next one we're going to create is our root partition. I'm going to do 30 gigabytes. And the Linux file system's fine. And then we're going to do a third partition, which is going to be our home partition. And I'm just going to use the remaining size of the disk. So we have the 3 partitions. For this install, I'm not going to be creating a partition for swap. I'm going to actually create that as a file later on in this video. So we have SDA1, which is going to be our boot for the UEFI system. And then we have SDA2, which is going to be our root partition, and SDA3, which is going to be our home partition. So once all of that looks good, we're going to go ahead and click on Write. And yes, I want to save. And then we're going to quit. And if we do fdisk -L again, you'll see that for my /dev/SDA device, I have 3 partitions, SDA1, SDA2, SDA3. Now again, yours will probably look different than mine because you got a different hard drive size. In the drive, the numbers might be a little bit different than what you're seeing on my screen. That should be fine. Now we need to create the file system. So we'll do mkfs-mkfs.fat, then -f32, and we'll do /dev/SDA1. This is going to be for our EFI system. Okay, that looks good. So we'll do the second partition now. So we'll do mkfs, and that will be a ext4 file system /dev/SDA2. And we'll do the same thing for SDA3. Everything looks good there. So now we'll create the root and home directories. So we'll do mount dev/sda2 space mnt. Then we'll do mkdir to make a directory, and we'll do /mnt/home for our home directory, and then we'll do mount /dev/sda3 mnt/home. Okay, our file system is done. Now we need to install the Arch packages. So we'll do pacstrap -i mount base Linux, do Linux-firmware, and we'll do sudo and vim. You may want to also do nano if you don't prefer vim. However, I don't use nano, so I'm just going to go with vim. Select one for default. It'll give you the packages that's going to be installed. Go ahead and click on Y. And then we'll let everything download. Okay, that looks good. We're going to generate the file system table now. So we'll do gen fs tab file system table. Okay, now we're going to move over to our installed system that we just installed. So we'll do arch chroot mount. Okay, and then we're gonna, like I said earlier about the time zones, we'll configure the time zones now. So if you don't know what time zone to select, obviously you probably know what time zone you're in, but you have to select the closest city. So to find the closest city, you can do time date CTL list time zones, and then you'll get a full list. So just you can hit J to go down. I'm in America, so the closest city for me, because I'm in Central Time, will be Chicago, which is on the list here. But you can keep scrolling down until you find the time zone that you want. Press Q to exit. So now what we'll do is we'll set our time zone. So we'll do time date CTL set dash time zone, and then I'm going to choose America / Chicago. Make sure there's no typos. Looks good. And then if we do time date CTL and then status, you'll see that in the time zone section. You'll see the time zone that you just set. So all of that looks good. We will do hardware clock sync to HC. Okay, that was done. Had a few typos in there. But we're getting pretty close. We're going to configure our host now. So we'll set our name of our system so it can be identified over the network. So to do this, we'll do an echo, and then we have to give it a name. So I'm just going to do Arch VB for Arch VirtualBox. And then we're going to set that, we're going to throw that into our etc/host name. And let's just double check that. If I do vim etc host name, I should see Arch VB for VirtualBox in my host file. So that looks good. Capital is easy to quit, save and quit. And then what we have to do is update our /etc/hosts with our host name in there as well. So we'll do vim etc/hosts. Okay, we'll remove the comment because we don't want it in there. And then we'll do 127.0.0.1, and then we'll set that to localhost. And then we'll do, for our IP6, we'll do ::1 localhost, and then we'll do 127.0.1.1, and then we'll set that to arch VB, whatever you used for your host name, .local domain, and then arch VB for VirtualBox. So yours will look something like this. Obviously, you will replace the arch VB with the host name that you have set. So go back to normal mode, capital Z to save and quit, and then we're back. Okay, so now we'll set up our password. So we'll do pass WD. And then we'll type in our password. Password updated successfully. And besides that, the next thing that we have to do is we do need to install or set up our network, because if we were to restart this machine right now, we would have no network. So we need to do that. So I'll do clear the screen, and we'll start doing the network. So we'll do pacman s network manager. It'll tell us what packages it's going to install. We'll hit Y for yes. Okay, so next we'll do system CTL, and we'll enable the network manager. So we'll have network once we restart the machine. One of the last things we have to do here is set up our boot manager, and we're going to use Grub. So we need to download our boot manager packages. So we'll do pacman s, we'll do Grub, UEFI boot mgr, DOS file system tools. Let's see here, we'll do the OS prober, mtools, Linux headers, Linux LTS headers. Okay, we'll set the locale next. So to do that, there's this file in the etc. If I do a vim/etc/locale.gen, this will give us, everything's commented out in here, but we need to select, since I'm in the US, it's going to be en_US UTF like -8. So they should all be in here by alphabetical order. So we'll go do en_US. Here's the ENs. US -8, UTF -8. So we're going to uncomment this. So I'm going to press I to go into insert mode, and then I'm going to remove the pound or the hash there. Escape to get back into normal mode. Capital Z to save, and I'm good to go there. So then we'll do the locale-gen. Generation's complete. There's a few more things that we have to do with Grub to make sure that we can boot. So we'll do mkdir to make a directory, and we're going to do /boot/EFI. Then we're going to do mount/dev/sda1/boot/EFI. SDA1, that might be different for you. Go back into fdisk /L and figure out which partition letters and numbers you did for the UEFI file system. Okay, I got an error here, so let me figure out what I did. Okay, I know what I did. So, of course, Linux is case sensitive, so I'll leave this mistake in this video because you might run into this as you go through this video. But if you look up a couple lines, I did the make directory, and I forgot to capitalize the EFI. And since I tried to mount /dev/sda1 /boot, I did capital EFI. Because we have lowercase and capitals, Linux thinks those are two different things. So I'm actually just going to, since I wanted all capitals for the EFI, I'm going to actually do a remove /boot/EFI. Okay, got that fixed. So I'll go back to mkdir. I'll do a capital EFI. Okay, that looks good. And we'll go back to mount /dev/sda1 /boot EFI. There, we didn't get the error this time. Okay, now we'll install Grub on using EFI mode. So we'll do grub-install --target equals x86 _ 64 x86 _ 64 -EFI bootloader -ID equal grub _ UEFI -- recheck. Okay, let's make sure we don't have any spelling errors in this one, because if this isn't done right, once we go to restart, our install will not come up. I do have a spelling mistake in here. Instead of EU, it should be UEFI. Okay, that looks good. Go ahead and press enter. And that went through fine. A few more things that we have to do for Grub. So we're going to do copy /user/share/ locale /en @QUOT /LC _ messages. /grub.mo /boot grub locale /en.mo. That looks good. Okay, we'll write the grub config. grub.make mkconfig -o /boot /grub grub.cfg. Okay, that's done. So we'll create the swap file now. We'll do, I'm on a virtual machine. I'm just going to do 2 gigabytes. Use what you want to use on your machine. 6 chmod 600 swap file. Make swap file. Okay. Okay, so we'll exit. Okay, so I just rebooted. Now that I've rebooted, we actually see the Grub boot manager, and here's our Arch Linux install. Log in as root and then password. And we're in. Make sure we have internet access here. Ping archlinux.org. We'll do it 5 times. Yeah, and we looks like we're good to go. So that's installing Arch Linux on a UEFI system. So I hope this helps. Catch you in the next video.